My name is Hasana Bagnall Hare. I attend Maynooth University and my research is titled The Dominant Effect of Intracranial Pressure over Mean Arterial Pressure from a Control Systems Perspective. I decided to become an engineer fairly late in life. I always had an aptitude for maths and technical subjects, and around TY I attended an engineering course in DIT. And it was just an introduction to engineering. It was a bit of everything. Just throughout it, I just kind of enjoyed every second of it, and I moved towards electronic engineering. So then during 5th and 6th year in school, I just started looking into it a bit more and attending different kind of courses here and there. And I just really started to enjoy it. So then I was like, okay, let's go try this in college and see what happens. So then I ended up in Maynooth, which was amazing. So my research is trying to understand how intracranial pressure influences mean arterial pressure, and if it's a two-way system or just a one-way system. And the reason you do my research is because physiologists do all this stuff experimentally. So they play with one variable, watch what happens to a few others, and that's really good for understanding how things work and what actually happens when things change, but it doesn't tell you how your body does it or the kind of middle bit. So if you play with your intracranial pressure and you increase it, you know mean arterial pressure increases and your heart rate increases, but you don't fully understand what part of your body does it or why or what triggers it. So control system engineering is kind of looking into how one signal interacts with the other and trying to figure out exactly what gets triggered and in what way and how quickly. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And the reason you do my research is stuff like following traumatic brain injury or anything kind of trauma to your head. People don't really understand what's happening in there, and they need to understand what your body is doing to help understand what state your brain is in after that, or why your brain would be doing it, or whether it's safe to actually try something to help bring your brain back following traumatic brain injury, whether it's safe, whether it's going to cause more harm, or if what your brain is doing might look irregular, but if it's actually helping itself. So understanding all the little systems inside your brain and how they're kind of related to pressure really helps doctors to kind of figure out that sort of stuff. So I'm not trying to figure out that, but I'm figuring out the model and how your brain does it. And then hopefully down the road, doctors or physiologists or medical professionals can actually look at my model and better understand what's happening and maybe develop sort of a set of parameters or a set of criteria that you should do following different circumstances. Why is engineering research important? To me, it's really important because it is one of the more overlapping subjects. So even though I did electronic engineering in my degree, I still did a taste of a lot of other subjects. And I did kind of pop in and out of different modules and different things, and you get this kind of introduction to a lot of different things. So when you're approaching a problem, you have a bit more of a rounded perspective so that you're not kind of so set in this one channel that you can't see different approaches. And I think sometimes the best thing comes from different approaches, and like my research is one of those. Like I'm collaborating with physiologists. Like I would not be able to do my research without them, and they are improving their studies because of people like me and engineers that are kind of delving into that kind of biomed or crossover area. And I do think it's important for that sort of thing to occur because I think people understand things better when that happens. Yeah, there's kind of been a gender imbalance in my area of study, kind of from the start. Anytime I attended any of those engineering courses or those maths courses when I was in school, there's always been a massive minority of women. As the years go on, you can see that the balance is slowly starting to shift, but you know, there's still a bit of a way to go before I would say it's balanced. And then I think even when you get to research, it becomes even more imbalanced. And I think it's not because people aren't capable of doing it, it's just that people are that bit more kind of hesitant to put themselves forward and see that they are able to do it. And it does take you building up your confidence to be confident enough to go for it. Like all the girls I went to college with or all the women I've been around are definitely capable of doing research. I think there's a lot of women that have inspired me throughout my journey in engineering. I think I got very lucky that when I was in school I had a female maths teacher, and she was amazing. Like, she didn't just stop when the bell went at the end of the day. She was really invested in making sure you understood maths, and that you didn't just rote learn, or you didn't just get to the end of the equation, that you started to actually enjoy what was happening, and you understood how everything played off each other. And no matter what question you had, like, there was oftentimes I stayed for probably an hour after school in her classroom just going through random math things. And I think that sort of stuff really does kind of show you how much people can inspire you. And then particularly when I was in college, a girl called Maeve, she actually did research like mine for her master's. And she was kind of the reason I got into research, because I remember being in third year and just really, really enjoying control system modules, and saying it to her because I knew she did her master's in it. And I was like, I don't really know what you can do with this after college or even for your final year. And she was the one that actually kind of started to show me that side of things and introduced me to the topic. And then I got involved with my supervisor, and it just kind of went from there. But I think without her, I probably wouldn't be doing research. I wouldn't have known what it was, or that I would even be interested in doing it. Yeah, I do think it is really important to celebrate International Women in Engineering Day, simply because you need to be able to see what you want to be. So when you're, like, when I was little, I obviously grew up with a lot of people around me that were really good, but also, like, you see these things when you're like International Women's Day and you see all these amazing people all over the world doing it, but unless you know people near you, you don't actually really fully understand that you can do it. And I think obviously it's amazing that you're seeing all these amazing women and it's a start, but I think until it becomes localized or more mainstream, you don't actually realize it yourself until you know a girl around the corner, or that you went to school with, or a teacher or someone like that, where you can actually look and see it in real life, and it's not just kind of this image or this video you watch of this girl thousands of miles away, that it's actually someone nearby. Yeah, I'm really glad I chose engineering. I really enjoy it. I think, I know I am very mathsy, but I think engineering isn't just about maths. It's the way you approach problems, how you analyze things. And it's not just this kind of grey, black and white area. It's not just, okay, do this method and it works. There is a large amount of problem solving and taking different methods from different courses or different fields and adapting them to your problem. And I do think engineering in that sense is one of the most interesting fields.